So I'm back with part 2 of why you don't want to move to the Ozarks. Now my last video went pretty viral, and that is the first video that I've made that actually got over 500,000 views and tons of comments, thousands of comments. It was almost too much to keep up with. I almost turned the comments off because it was a lot, but there were so many good ones, and I thought, well, I'll just keep it going. And so I just tried to catch up and respond to you guys as soon as possible. But there were some things that I missed in that video, and I realized that too when I watched it. And I'm like, well, I need to make a part 2 all about the things I missed. First thing I wanted to talk about was some of your comments and complaints about the Ozark people, that we are very clannish, conservative, and Bible thumpers. Well, I would say that is probably correct. Let's talk about clannish. First of all, most of us have Scotch-Irish heritage like I do. A lot of my cousins are still here on my dad's side of the family, and you know, we all kind of want to know each other and who we're related to and how we're related, and you know, that way we're not marrying our cousins. Hello. And second of all, conservative, yes, people are very, you know, known to be conservative here for the most part. And we're in the Bible Belt. We're actually on the buckle of the Bible Belt. So there you have it. I think it is hard for people that want to come and live here because they're like, well, how am I going to fit in with these people here? Well, you've got to realize over the past 30 years, so many people have moved in from other states. It's kind of like a melting pot. And people that are truly local are kind of a rarity. So most likely you're going to fit in just fine if you find your people. One of the most annoying and funny things that happens when you're walking into a local diner anywhere in Missouri or the Ozarks, everyone kind of turns around and does this stare, like, and then they go back to eating. It's like people want to know who you are, where you come from, is so-and-so your dad? You know, stuff like that. So it's just a weird little thing, and I don't know if that happens in other places in the Midwest. Maybe you could let me know. So people tell me that people of the Ozarks are so friendly, and I hear that over and over again by people who visit. So once you get to know us, we do come around and we warm up to you. It's just gonna take some time. So in my last video, I talked a lot about the wildlife here as far as bears and deer and raccoons and such, but there was a lot of animals that I missed because there's just so many, and I think a lot of you are afraid of snakes, right? And most of us are. So I wanted to give you this guide to Missouri snakes, and I found it on the Missouri Conservation website, and it's a great handbook to read. It's great for children to learn about because you want to know what a good snake is and what a bad snake is, right? And there's actually 36 good non-venomous snakes that do good things. They eat mice and insects, and of course the venomous snakes, you know, they do their thing too, but they're not going to come after you unless you come after them. But if one is a threat to your dog or your child out in the yard, you can get a shovel and do what you want to with that one. And that's what happens to a lot of them. So it's very typical for our non-venomous snakes to have this kind of little round head, and they have kind of a slender head that blends in with their body. Typically these are black snakes or green snakes, and they're pretty good because they take care of, you know, mice and insects and everything, and they also can guard your property from the bad snakes. So the bad snakes are your copperheads and your rattlesnakes. I would say we have more copperheads than anything. I usually run into a copperhead maybe once every 2 to 3 years. Now some of you might have one every summer that you have to deal with. And here's a picture of a couple of king snakes. And if you ever find these, you don't want to kill them because they do a lot of good. And once you learn about snakes a little bit, it's going to put your mind at ease. So I hope this helps you. There's lots of other critters in the Ozarks as far as raccoons, possums, and foxes. And actually, I'll show you some pictures of my cousin's property lives like 2 hillsides over, and they feed the raccoons and the foxes. It's pretty cool. So on a more serious note, a lot of you have said, oh, the Ozarks is full of meth heads and, you know, horrible drug dealers and this and that. So I wanted to kind of clarify what's happened in our area in the past and what it's like now. So to a point, that is true, but it was more than 25 to 30 years ago when meth production was pretty bad here. Now, it started back in 1992 was the earliest record that I found, and you know, this area became known as 417, or it was a brand of methamphetamines called 417 that started from this man named Bob Paillet from Reed Spring, Missouri. And you can read this article, this was back in 1992, where he discovered how to make meth out of cold medicine. His way of making this drug was so easy that a lot of people learned how to do it, and before you know it, we had a lot of meth labs back in that time. You know, I really didn't know what was going on at the time back then, but hindsight's always 20/20, right? When I first kind of heard about it was when I was working at a flower shop in the grocery store. I won't name the grocery store, but yeah, this guy would come in and order a big huge bouquet of flowers, and he'd say, give me $200 worth of flowers, I don't care what it costs. He'd come in every week and get this huge bouquet, and we're thinking, what in the world does he use these flowers for? He must have a lady he really likes or something. But and then he would give the florist $100 bill in cash, and I only did it one time for him when nobody was there, because the other florist that I worked with at the time, she just kind of wanted, that was her guy, and oh, she wanted to take care of him. So long story short, he was operating a meth lab in one of the nicer neighborhoods in Branson, and I don't want to, you know, make a neighborhood look bad, but yeah, he was right underneath everybody's nose. So there was a lot of meth labs that were kind of out in the open in a basement, or they could be way out in the woods in the forest where it's hidden. But there were over 1,000 meth labs, I believe, in this whole area back then. And it took a while for law enforcement to take care of it, but they did take care of it and cleared it all out of here. So something even more sinister and more disturbing about meth is, yeah, that's great, we don't have any meth labs here anymore, because now the Mexican cartel has taken over meth production, and they're bringing it in under everybody's nose, and it's much more lethal, it's cheaper, so there's no reason for people to make it here. And that's the scary thing, guys. So it still does exist, and it's even on a much worse scale than it was 20 or 30 years ago. So there's actually a map that I found online showing where most of the meth users are in the country, and they're in California, Texas, and Tennessee, and Florida, and New York. So all of those states have really high levels of meth users, and also people on tranquilizers and all kinds of horrible fentanyl and all of that stuff. Meth is everywhere, I'm sure, but it's much better than it was before with all of those labs here. But you know, an area can kind of get a stigma to it, and even though so much time has gone by, people still kind of think, oh, 417, yeah, that's the Ozarks, that's going on there. Well, it's not anymore. So I think that time period really lasted from the mid to late 90s on through the early 2000s. I'm going to leave this article for you as well. It was a news article back in 2020, so that's some recent information. Also, there's a really great movie on this subject called Winter's Bone, and it was filmed here right in Forsyth, Missouri. And actually, they used a lot of the scenes of, you know, some burned down buildings that were actually already here, probably. But it kind of goes over the story of her father being a meth user, and he's missing, and she's just trying to find him. That's basically what the movie's about. But it really is kind of true to life, to the area, I think. Although the accents aren't really Ozark accents, they're more Kentucky accent. And I don't know, I think that was a little off, but still, it's a great movie. And one of my favorite actresses, too. So, I don't know. I might have to make a number 3. I'm trying to make my videos 10 minutes or shorter, 8 to 10 minutes, so I'm not dragging it on and on. But if you guys have any questions, I know you're going to leave lots and lots of comments, so go ahead and comment about whatever you like, and I'll try to get back with you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll try to make another one at another time. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.